So I was weighing the pros and cons of being made out of cheese versus being made out of peanut butter.
Listen,
And
I hate
honestly,
to interrupt, Nick, but welcome to Hate to Interrupt. I am Ethan from youtube.com/Ghouliff, and I am joined by...
Nick from Stop Culture.
Nick, that's also a VHS guy.
Yeah, and so today we're going to be talking about a couple movies and also, checking in on The Last of Us again, which is what we've been doing for the past couple weeks. So first up, we're going to be talking about El Diablo's Cornhole by Guillermo del Toro from 2001. It's actually called The Devil's Backbone. Nick likes to call it El Diablo's Cornhole. And then also the new movie, Final Destination Bloodlines, directed by Zach Lipivsky and Adam Stein, which just hit theaters like this week or a couple days ago or something. So yeah, I mean, let's do Final Destination first, actually, because Nick is a massive Final Destination head. So what would you think of it, Nick?
It's the best one. I don't know. Like, I think it's the best one. Am I crazy?
This is 6, right?
I think it might be 7.
No, I think this is 6.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I've only... What's our history with this? Because I'm sure you've seen them all, Nick. I've only seen the first 2. I watched the first one right before seeing this because I'd never seen it. I saw the second one with the fucking log
I feel like
truck.
everybody's seen the third one because like the girls getting the tanning beds that get clothes on them.
I feel like everyone's seen the second one. Everyone knows the log truck
like
scene.
the log truck. There's a few like iconic scenes from these movies. I grew up on them. I watched them all as they came out.
I watched maybe like clips from all of them or none of them. I don't know. I've definitely have maybe seen one, or I know the log scene that Ethan's talking about, so I've probably seen some of one of these movies at least, from when I was a kid, but definitely not in years. It wasn't a big thing for me growing up. Final Destination. I do think the concept is pretty cool. It's just like a vehicle for having cool kills in a
cool
movie.
Death scenes,
right?
It's like Rube Goldberg
creative death scenes.
It's basically like Saw's equivalent of like Saw traps, or the
I think that's why it stuck around so long. It's just the concept is so strong. Like they don't really have to try that hard.
Yeah,
no, I mean that was what I was kind of going into seeing this. We finished watching it in theaters, and I was like, these are very difficult for me to rate, as with any kind of big schlocky franchise horror film, because what I'm getting out of Final Destination is not what I really want out of other movies. It's not like, oh man, the character drama was so interesting, oh, the performances were great. No, you're going in there for like kills. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
As long as it keeps you entertained.
Yeah, that's pretty true. I feel like maybe in some of the later ones they tried a little bit harder, and in this one, honestly, I feel like they had some pretty good characters in it, but they're not necessarily characters you care about, and that's to an extent. But they were interesting characters.
I like the Prince Albert character.
He's so funny, bro. He was great.
The tattooed kid who
he was funny, actually.
Spoilers, by the way.
Yeah, spoilers.
But whenever the MRI machine is just yanking off all his fucking
his dick piercing.
I was fucking dying.
That was so funny. That was probably the best death scene in the movie for me. Well, I was like, this is so fun.
The one that stuck with me is the one where she's in the fucking dumpster and her head just gets smashed in half.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, that's great. So
it didn't feel like this took itself seriously, which I know the Final Destinations don't really do that. The only one that does is like the first movie, that it kind of has a more, it's like, guys, this is serious, death is after us. And then in this one especially, it's like they're like, we know why you guys are here.
But it's still like it's still Devon Sawa. Like it's not going to be sure. It's a campy as fuck
they
movie.
Don't really take themselves seriously. And this one especially also felt so like, dude, I was like, this is the movie. This is the kind of movie where you go in the theater and you cheer. In the opening premonition, when that little shithead kid with the penny got crushed by a piano, I was so happy. I clapped.
Dude, okay, so like, I wasn't super sold on the movie from the opening premonition, like, because it felt very like CGI with like, it has that like very artificial look that I don't like.
Oh, the whole skyline looked like the volume from like The Mandalorian.
Yeah, it was fairly ugly, but honestly it seemed like once they got past the premonition, which honestly the setup and cinematography of the premonition itself was fine. It was just like a lot of digital altering that made it kind of ugly for me. But I feel like it kind of got better as the movie went along.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's the thing. It's I don't think I can name a single character from this, but they're like the one standout for me is the guy with all the body piercings. He felt like an actual interesting character that I wanted to stick around. I was like, this guy's fun and entertaining. Everyone else was just kind of cannon fodder, particularly like for bad performances. The brother who was allergic to peanuts was so bad. He was so terrible.
The mom was pretty bad too, honestly.
Oh yeah, she was like discount Jenny Coolidge. Yeah.
Not the grandma, the mom, like the
mom,
the
yeah.
mom of the like cousins, yeah,
yeah.
the one who cheated.
No, not
And,
her.
yeah.
I was talking about their mom.
Oh,
Because
no,
there's
she
like a
wasn't
lot of
great either.
moments. There was a lot of moments where she's just like, actually, and it's just like he was just like overacting super hard. I was laughing my ass off.
I thought the main protagonist was also pretty bad. I thought she was an overactor.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
This I guess this doesn't really matter, but like because I saw like the super white family at the beginning, and then it goes to her, and I'm like, how's she Hispanic? And then I was like, wait, maybe her dad's Hispanic. And then it goes to her dad, and he's Asian. I'm like, what's going on? And then her brother didn't really look Asian either. I was like, how did this happen?
Her brother looked Asian.
Their brother.
He looked more Asian than
No?
her.
He
Looked like maybe like Laotian or something. Laotian. That's the word. I'm not from Laos, bro. I don't know how to say it.
How did you because like there's no real mascot. They don't like Final Destination as a franchise does not have a Jason Voorhees or Freddy Krueger or whatever, but it does have Tony Todd. How did you guys feel about Tony Todd? This is potentially his final on-screen performance.
Well, it was pretty crazy that his last scene was literally like him basically saying, "We all die. Live your life to your fullest," like as his last line in his last movie.
Which I read that was also apparently the director just asked him like, hey, this wasn't written in the script, but like, do you want to improv, like just talk to the fans, like tell them what you think you want to say, and that was apparently what he said, and I was like,
what did he actually die of?
I don't know, but it might have been cancer. I'm not sure on that though,
because he might have known about it, like.
Yeah, maybe. Because for me, he had stomach cancer.
So he probably was aware that he was going to die whenever they were filming this, because he did look really like thin.
Yeah, but yeah, for him, I was constantly worried because I knew he passed away before seeing this, and his final scene was like this very sentimental, like sweet scene of him like saying farewell to the franchise and the fans, and then I was just like, please don't have him walk through that door and just like a giant spout of blood shoots out the door, like, whoa!
Yeah, I'm glad they treated him with some respect, honestly.
Yeah, that would have been a very Final Destination thing to do, but it also would have been like, all right, you guys let's not do that.
Yeah, I guess another thing I will say about the movie is it was incredibly predictable. I saw every single fake out and most of the deaths coming very obviously. But I will say, like, I at the end, I was like, I feel like they're gonna die. Like the brother and sister are gonna die at the end. But I was like,
oh, they always do. They always have the rug pull death.
I know, but I was scared they were gonna back out because I really didn't want them to try to do something with the series where they like try to bring back characters. Like, like I was just like, kill them and start fresh. And I was really happy they did, because movies these days, I don't know.
Yeah, the only real character that does carry through is Tony Todd's character, but that's kind of... I mean, he wasn't even in every movie, was he? He's like in 1 and 2 and this one and maybe one of the other ones, but he's not even in all of them.
Wait, so when they went to the like the older black dude's like office or whatever,
the coroner's office,
yeah, he was saying that there was one woman, Kimberly Corman, who was able to cheat death or whatever. Is she a character from one of the older movies?
I don't know. I'm not a huge expert.
I don't remember, honestly.
Corman. Oh, she's from the second one. She's from the second movie.
Yeah, I was talking to someone. I was saying, I think the second one was the only one that they didn't kill everybody.
Yeah. I was thinking as I left the theater, this is the worst answer for those memes where it's like, the last movie you watched, you're a character in the story. How screwed are you? If you're a character in a Final Destination movie, there's no chance. You have like a less than 1% chance of being okay. Because even if you make it to the end, you're probably going to be killed as like a sight gag.
I would
imagine.
I would rather be in this movie franchise than Nightmare on Elm Street, though.
True.
Because I don't know, just someone attacking you in the safe realm of your dreams is just so terrifying. It's like in the movie, it's kind of played for jokes a lot of the time. But like if you think about that, like anytime you go to sleep, you could die. That's scarier than this, I think, to me.
And you're going to eventually have to fall asleep.
Yeah.
But Freddy can be beaten.
Yeah, you can't beat. Final Destination is like, there is no way to beat it. You have to like basically die and come back. And even then it's like, death might just go, you know what, screw you.
So why did the kid, because the kid with the tattoos and the piercings, he wasn't really on the list. I guess he just got killed because he was trying to cheat death.
He was interfering.
Yeah, he was interfering with the whole process.
Yes.
Okay.
You fuck with death and death will get you, or whatever he says.
Yeah, but then why did that whole thing happen with his tattoo parlor burning down? Was that just like a freak accident?
Oh, it's just funny. It's just a
it's
fake.
like that's what Final Destination does. They like just fake you out as many times as they possibly can.
That was starting to get really grating by the end. Like
the fake deaths.
Yeah, like they usually kind of make it come back and mean something later, like with the vending machine. They really spent a lot of time. Well, the penny always ended up, that was important for later. But like when they were trying to knock over the peanut butter cups out of the vending machine, and they're showing the camera under the vending machine when they're like pulling it and everything, and then it ended up being the thing that actually kills the kid later. But in the moment, I was like, are we really just going to spend like a minute on this?
Yeah, and I know it's a stupid horror movie, but there's no way an MRI machine could do that.
I was wondering that. I don't know. Like, can it? I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't think we need to be asking logistical, logical questions about Final Destination.
It was like experimental mode engaged.
Yeah. You hit the manual override button, now going to 7 megatons of magnetic attraction or whatever it says. Where we can just completely just suck every piece of metal in the vicinity of this hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just like a silly horror movie. I mean, we don't have to spend all day on it, but I mean, I will definitely say I got exactly what I wanted out of it.
Yeah.
From the trailer. I was very happily whatever the fucked,
Well, the thing that's kind of annoying to me is like the most exciting sequence I think is the entire extended sequence that's in the trailer, where it's like, oh, there's a little piece of glass in the cup, then there's the rake under the trampoline, and the water thing starts filling up, and it's just like, I don't know. I wish they would have saved that for the movie, because it doesn't really get better than that, I don't think.
You think that was the best one?
Well, it's at least the most intricate one and the most creative one, I think. Like the MRI machine is cool too, but I personally think the other one is cooler.
The tattoo shop scene was really cool too, but that was also shown in a separate trailer.
Yeah, that was in the first trailer. That was like they just showed the entire scene basically of him like hitting the floor on the fire, and that was it.
Yeah, I do wish they had like maybe like one more big Rube Goldberg fucking situation, but I think the MRI scene was serviceable as like a secondary scene.
I think it's never mind, you go. I forgot what I was gonna say.
No, I don't know. I think Nick's right. It's like it is the Rube Goldberg death movie. So my favorite scenes in the movie are the ones where it's like it's very intricate. One thing leads to another, like how the character talks about it being an equation and stuff. I really prefer that to just the more simplistic ones where it's just like one or two things that needs to happen, like how the grandma dies, for instance. That one was like
a thing falls.
Yeah, that one wasn't that great, But
or like the mom dying with the telephone pole falls on her head. It's like, okay, pretty lame. Well,
I will. The very last death wasn't that great either. It was just the loudest. It was just like, oh, the train gets off the tracks and blah. Blah, I don't know.
The final deaths usually don't really matter too much.
They're just for shock factor.
Yeah, you're just supposed to be like, oh, okay.
I do like how they had like fun with it, where they have the scene where she's like, oh, don't touch that Hacksaw leaned up against the tree, and he's like, "Oh, okay, what could happen? Well, it could fall and hit the gardener, and he could blow dust into the kid's eyes, and they'll kick a soccer ball at your head." Oh man, I don't know. I really loved how that went. And you just see the sister getting hit in the face and fall into the dumpster in the background.
I'm like, I always talk about how much I hate quippy shit and like hacky comedy like that, but I think it all kind of worked in the movie, and maybe that's just because like the actor himself that was the majority comic relief did a really good job. Yeah, I actually genuinely laughed quite a few times in the movie.
Yeah, there was one scene that I laughed pretty hard at involving that guy. He was good. He was the best part of the movie. I think it was the Prince Albert part that was so funny. That's really hilarious. But no, it was when his dick piercing gets pulled out by the yeah.
Was it the Prince Albert? What does that mean?
That's what it's when you get your
dickhead pierced.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's called a Prince Albert piercing. But
so I feel like this movie is going to do really well. Do we think that it's going to like basically?
It's already doing well.
Do we think it's going to spark a new series of excitement for Final Destination?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think this was kind of because when was the last one? Like 2012?
Probably late 2000s or
over 10 years ago.
It's a timeless concept. There's always going to be teenagers who are going to want to see people die in ridiculous ways. So yeah, I think it'll do well for
2011.
Sure.
Dang. So it's been literally like
14 years.
Wow.
I hope they put the care that I feel like they're actually, as much as this was just a horror movie, like it did feel like they like put a lot of thought and like care into this story, and I hope they continue to do the same
into the story. I don't know if they put that much care into the story. No. Into the kills, for sure.
They at least tried to like come up with they always do this with every Final Destination. They try to change up how the concept and how the story is going to play out. They're like, it's not just a premonition where a group of people escape and then they, have to get the Final Destination stuff done to them. It's like this one, they're like, what if we had kids and it took so long to get to us that now there's a whole family tree?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They did something.
It's kind of similar to how they used to do in like the early 2000s, like what I talk about in a lot of my videos is where they're like, this time they're in space, this time they're doing this. It's like, this time it's a bloodline. I want them to keep it fresh is really all I'm trying to say. I want them to try something new in the next one.
Just change up the framing each time so we keep it interesting. Don't just do, what if we do Final Destination Bloodlines 2? And it's the same thing with a different
I just don't want it to be fucking lazy.
Yeah.
So wait, how does this differ from the first one? Isn't it? It's kind of the same thing that kicks off.
It's the same premise.
It's like the plane, right? That's what it is.
Well, yeah, but that's the main character is. Yeah, go ahead.
The difference is the premonition is from like 70 years ago. So like the person, usually in most Final Destination films, it's a person that avoids the accident. So like in your traditional movie with the beginning of this movie, you'd have like that character survive that tower, and then the movie would just continue in the 50s and it would just be her and everyone in her group, getting killed off. Whereas like this one, because it was so many people that didn't die, they're like, it took so long that everyone had kids, and then we're in modern day, and then once the grandma dies, then it starts moving through all the kids. That's the change up in framing.
And it's also expanding upon the concept, right? It's adding depth to the concept as a whole, which I think is interesting.
I'm curious. Yeah. Like how these people have premonitions, and then they escape these like massive accidents and then death is mad because they were supposed to die. Do you guys think they're ever going to try to explain why these people have premonitions?
Probably.
Yeah, that would be the next logical step, I think, from like a plot mechanic point of view.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That might like ruin the mystique, but also I think that would be it's stupid and funny.
Yeah, like they're gonna give a name for these kinds of people, and the next person's gonna be like, "There's been people throughout history who can see death's machinations as they're laid in front of us,
angel touched, or whatever."
Yeah,
they just turn it into some theological shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like how I don't know if you guys watched like the Exorcist reboot, but
god,
the whole it's called like Exorcist Believer.
Exorcist Rise.
I think it was called Believer.
It was Believer. It was Believer.
It was like two girls, right?
Yeah, it was two girls instead of one, and then they were like, "We can't actually have a Catholic priest this time. It's going to take every religion in the world coming together." So
the
they have
Infinity
like
Gauntlet of religions.
yeah, the Avengers of religions coming together.
That's so
David
funny.
Gordon Green just fucking taking a nosedive of his career.
He's just
Yeah.
taking a paycheck.
No, it sounded like he really wanted to make that movie. It sounded like he was like stoked for that movie.
That
And
was
it was
one of those
unbelievably
where I
bad.
think it was
'Cause I think he wrote it
like
too.
a rights, like I think buying the rights to the movie was like a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, they definitely lost a fuckload of money in that movie. It was unbelievably bad. It was so fucking horrible.
I heard that Ellen Burstyn just donated her entire check to like some kind of charity or something.
Old as
Yeah,
fuck.
I just looked it
Yeah,
up.
so-
For Universal to get the rights for Exorcist to make the movie, it cost $400 million, and that's not even including what they spent to make the movie.
Damn.
That's such a loss.
But yeah, so for I don't know, for Final Destination, I guess I'm thinking like we'll go like 4.5 out of 10.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
crazy.
feeling. See, like I said earlier, it's hard to rate if I'm being the objective person. It's like a 4, but out of Final Destination, or a 4 out of 10, not a 4 out of 5. But like as a Final Destination movie, it's one of the better ones. It's like up there with 1 and 2 for me. But like I've only seen bits of 3, 4, and 5.
I feel like I have a weighted scale. Like I feel like
Hit
when
me.
I rate a movie like these, I don't rate them in the same way. Like my initial instinct was an 8, but I can't do an 8. But like I'm gonna do like a 7.5 on it probably.
Like I'm giving this 3 out of 4 skulls.
So why you'll do a weighted scale for this, but not Marvel? Like Marvel is just shit. That just gets weighted with all the other bad movies that you don't like.
Yeah.
Why though? You know they're both like trying to do their own thing.
I don't give Marvel movies that. Like, what did I give Thunderbolts? Like a 6.5? Like that's.
Yeah,
You give it
I like
a
this
7, I
movie.
think.
I like this movie way more than I like Thunderbolts.
I mean, I like Thunderbolts way more, but Thunderbolts had more of the things that I look for in like an actual movie. You know, like to make me feel something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Themes
It was
and
fun.
stuff.
The characters were fun. The only thing that I liked about this movie were the
I
fact that
think-
the deaths were cool and the tattoo
Yeah,
kid
I
was
think
pretty
theme,
entertaining.
Like, I would be honestly kind of
That
pissed
was
if they were
kind of-
like
kind of it.
they tried to imbue a theme into a Final Destination Bloodlines.
Because I mean, a lot of the time, it's how successful is it at what it's trying to achieve. You know.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I don't know. I'm fine with like a 4, but like looking at like I don't know. I don't. I out of let me see. I've only seen 1 and 2. I'd say I like this better than 1, but I haven't seen 2 in forever. So
I
don't
really
know.
like
it's
2.
it's at least
2's
1
like
or
the
between 2.
2's the one that's like mega nostalgic. 2 and 3 are both like mega nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it's good. If you like any of the Final Destination movies,
You'll
you're gonna
like
love
it.
this one.
Yeah, it was. If you like it, you'll like it.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Should we get into the wreck?
the
Did you have any
devil's
final words,
the
Nick?
devil's backbone.
Yes. El Espinazo del Diablo, directed by Guillermo del Toro.
Here, I can cut this out. Nick, can you hear us?
Yeah, sorry. Were you trying to talk to me a second ago? Your guys were kind of cutting out. I have like terrible connection right now.
You
I'm
didn't
sorry.
respond.
It's
No,
okay.
you're
I can
fine.
cut
I'm
I can
sorry.
cut this part
Yeah,
out.
we
It's
can
fine.
cut.
It's no big
Yeah,
deal.
let me reset that. Okay, let's get into the wreck. I recommended The Devil's Backbone or El Espinazo del Diablo, directed by Guillermo del Toro from 2001. What did you guys think of my wreck?
It took me a second to get into it. The first half hour was pretty slow, and then eventually it caught up with me. I liked it. It felt like the sort of movie that it was like the precursor to Pan's Labyrinth, where he like really perfected this. There's a war going on in the background, and the kids are having some kind of fantasy, scary adventure going on in the behind that backdrop of violence and destruction and everything. But it was pretty good. It was a little slow. Wasn't that scary really? I don't know. What did you guys think? Did you like it?
Yeah, what did you think, Nick?
I definitely liked it more than I loved it. I remember liking it more than I did on this rewatch. Same thing, kind of slow at the beginning. I think it really picked up at the end. And I think it kind of does a lot of what like somebody like Sam Raimi has done, but worse. Like visually, it really, really looked like a Sam Raimi movie.
Like
But
like an older one, like Evil Dead or something.
yeah, like Evil Dead or just like a Dark Man, stuff like that. It really just gave me that vibe, especially with how they like played with the cameras and stuff, but also just less fun. I don't know. And
That's fair.
the characters weren't that interesting to me. Like the villains, I don't know.
Yeah, I was hoping they would have like built up that like Jacinto guy a little bit more. It's kind of clear that he was a douche the entire time, but it's just like bam, no, he's actually the villain. He's very much like a side character throughout the entire thing. He's just kind of
Yeah.
like looming in the background as like the Argus Filch of this weird orphanage, you know? And
Mhm.
but then by the end it's like no, he was actually the one that was bad the entire time, and I was like, well, I feel like I barely know him, you know?
Yeah, they treat it like a reveal, but it doesn't have enough weight behind it as a reveal.
Yeah.
I think so I recommended this because I really like Guillermo. I'm not even like I love Guillermo's like style and passion for filmmaking. That is why I really appreciate Guillermo del Toro. But I don't always love everything he puts out. And I think that's perfectly fine. But I wanted to check out Devil's Backbone because it was a precursor, like you said, Nick, to Pan's Labyrinth, and I can see a lot of the influence in it. I think what this movie does really well is it has a great atmosphere and a great tone, and just a very cool setting and like backdrop. I think that's kind of what it does best is like vibes alone. But I'm in the same boat. I'm like I liked it. I don't think I loved it, but I liked it enough.
Yeah.
It was basically just spooky Nacho Libre.
I haven't.
I'm just
I haven't
kidding.
seen Nacho Libre.
Wait, what is the plot of
That
Nacho Libre? I thought he was like a luchador wrestler.
Yeah, I don't think
He
I
works
have.
at like an orphanage for kids, and his side job is he is a luchador, and he gives the money to the children so that they can have fresh chips.
Famous Mexican actor Jack Black.
Oh, okay.
Well, he's like adopted. He's like a white person that's like
Oh,
adopted,
okay.
and so
I
So the thing that was
am
the thing that
Steve.
was weird to me is like, so the movie's called The Devil's Backbone because it's the name
Yes.
of the pickle juice fetus drink that the guy drinks because he can't get hard.
He
And I
can't
was
get
like,
his dick
okay,
big,
of
yeah.
all the things to name this movie, why that? It's a cool name, sure.
definitely-
Like
like
The
the
Devil's
name.
Backbone is a cool name, but if it's like the only thing that stuff does is he drinks it because it's like this weird snake oil shit that him and people drink to try to get boners when they can't fuck. It's like, what the fuck?
Well,
It's
I mean,
one of
I
those-
thought it was more representative of like basically a substance that's given power because of superstition.
it definitely felt like it had a lot of the symptoms of like an early filmmaker trying to like kind of figure things out still. Which, I mean, the movie looked great to me for the most part. Minus some of
Oh,
the
it looked
CGI.
amazing. Yeah.
Minus some of the CGI for the kid, but
Even
other than
for the
that,
kid,
like the
I think it was, like,
cinematography looked good.
I think it was stylized enough for the ghost kid, and I think the design is like I was like, oh, this is so Guillermo. Like it's not just like your basic ghost. I think I love the very simple CG effect of having the like crack in his skull,
Yeah.
like have like blood just like draining out really slowly. I thought it was not a scary movie, but I do like the like eerie vibes and aesthetic of the actual paranormal stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, it felt like there was a lot of plot points that could have been interesting. He just didn't give them much weight, and he kind of focused on things that were less interesting. Like I think the relationship between the kids, where like they wanted to make comics, and like building their relationship between the children more would have made this movie way more interesting and made us care about them more.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, I liked like the
That was-
taller, older kid who starts off as an asshole, and he's the one who, Jaime. He actually witnesses Santi's death and everything. Like that was probably my favorite character arc in the movie. Just a simple kind of redemption arc of him actually being a good kid by the end of it. You know.
I think the kids were the best part of it, and I wish there was more focus on that. Honestly,
Yeah. The main child actor was really good too. I thought. I'm forgetting his name. Do you guys remember what it was? The one where Jacinto like cuts his face, you know. He's like the main
when
one.
I watch movies with
Carlos.
subtitles, I never remember the names.
Yeah. So it's like I don't know. So were you saying anything like the devil's backbone? It's like a substance given weight because it's
Well, I'm just kind of taking. Yeah, I was thinking like maybe it's more representative of the like it's a substance that's only given power because people believe in superstitions and like what it might be able to help them. You know, I don't know. There's maybe something interesting with it like that. I looked it up and it says as mentioned in the Spanish Gothic interview on the DVD, the name of the movie was initially to be taken from the Devil's Backbone mountain range setting in Mexico. This was changed when the movie wound up being set in Spain. So I don't really know.
So like we got to figure out some way to get that in there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a cool ass
It's
name.
cool.
Though.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It was just like strange to me when I found out that that's why it's called that, and
it felt so inconsequential to the plot.
Yeah. Like I couldn't really find a way to really because the ghosts are real. They're there, you know. So it's not like they're putting. It's not like this substance that they're putting belief into because they're superstitious. Like they actually are seeing ghosts, and the ghosts are helping them. And even the older the doctor guy becomes a ghost by the end. So it's like something with this orphanage that turns people into ghosts, I guess. But I don't know. I also wish like the only real consequence that the war has going on in the backdrop is just like kind of increases the desperation of everyone involved. And then there's the bomb that's, just sort of like laying in the courtyard that's looming over their heads the entire time, like the threat of the war. But I don't know. I wish there would have been more about that as well. Like it felt like it was very much just in the backdrop. It didn't have that much consequence overall at the end of the story,
It didn't really seem to affect anybody.
Yeah.
I thought the bomb was. I was like certain the bomb was going to go off by the end in some way, because they kept like being like you can still hear it ticking. But I think it was like you said, Nick. It was meant to more represent like this looming threat that they can't really escape.
Yeah. But they're so far removed from all the fighting too. It seems like they have they can hear planes sometimes, but like even when the entire orphanage blows up, they're like, well, no one's going to hear it. They're all far away. It's like, all right, well, I don't know. Is like why even set it during the time of war if there's like no consequence to there being a war on? I think like Pan's Labyrinth again just kind of like does this so much better, where the war is consequential. Like that's the primary thing that she's trying to escape. Whereas it feels like the children in this story, like their livelihoods are shaped by the war around them. But it's mostly just the fact that they're living in an orphanage and they don't have a lot of money and they're impoverished and everything. Like, I don't know. The war just feels like an ambient thing that's going on behind everything, not really influencing their lives all that much,
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'd really like to watch Pan's Labyrinth again because it's very interesting because it is like a similar. It's the same set. It's set in Spain, but it's like 4 years after the setting of Devil's Backbone, where it's like after the Spanish Civil War has ended. But it is like actually set in the thick of the the politics and the dictatorship happening at the time, whereas this does feel so far removed. I don't know. I just think that's such an interesting like setting to have your story take place in during like a war, but also have the kind of plot thrust for our kid characters be something so like unnatural.
So isn't Pan's Labyrinth is World War II, right?
No, Pan's Labyrinth is set in Spain. It's 1942. It might be during World War II, but it's under the people that won the Spanish Civil War, which is like a dictatorship that took over.
Right.
After,
yeah. So it takes it's like it's right at the end of the war. It's at the end of World War II. It's 1944.
Okay.
The Allies invaded.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And this is 39.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is after the fascists already won in the Spanish Civil War, but.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. What are you saying, Nick?
Can we agree that Guillermo del Toro is kind of a little pervert?
Why do you say that?
Why?
I just feel like he's like every movie he's made, it's just a little bit like perverted. Shape of Water, Pan's Labyrinth, even this movie.
Yeah, it was kind of
Hellboy.
The
not Hellboy necessarily.
The impotent angle was kind of a weird pervy element to add into the movie.
The little kids like her pussy is sideways.
I thought that was so funny where he's like, what does he say? He's like, here, I'll give you this drawing of a naked woman. It's really good. And then he hands it and they're like, oh my gosh.
One of the things that fucked me up real bad, he's like, I'm going to make comics, but way better than your comics. They're going to be amazing. He sneaks in and steals his comics and his art just sucks ass. The kid's art just is ass.
That was one thing I was like, I really like Jaime as a character, but every time I'm like, this kid that you're just kind of being a dick to is so like trying to win over your favor. Like he is never selling you out for all the shit you give him, and he's like actually helping you. And every time he's just like, whatever, you suck.
Yeah.
Bye, dude.
I will say the spear scene at the end, that actually was fucking. That one got me, dude. I'm not usually one to like grimace. Like when I watch shit, I watch fucked up shit like Terrifier and all that stuff. But like, yeah, the spears going into him, I was like, ugh.
In the spear in the armpit is like, I hate seeing weird stabby spots. Like in the original Spider-Man when Green Goblin gets stabbed in the dick / waistline. I hate it. And you could just see like it like he hits him in the shoulder in the armpit and like slowly pushes it in. That shit looks real.
Yeah.
And I think they did a good job of like having the kids. There was so many things I liked about the movie, like just very separately, and it was just so disjointed. It was hard for me to enjoy it as like a whole.
Yeah, I feel like there was something missing for me. Like it didn't like you said. I love so many individual. I like the aesthetic. I like the setting. I like the concept, but together it just there's like a missing puzzle piece, and I don't really know what that is. I think also kind of the horror could have been fixed if the string music wasn't playing all the time. I feel like they really kind of ruined some of the like atmosphere and tension for the horror scenes with just like did you guys notice that? I feel like the score was just very like in your face, like trying to let you know this was scary.
It didn't really have like a traditional horror score.
Yeah.
Necessarily.
Yeah, for me, it was just it was a pretty decent movie. Like I said, it definitely caught my attention more towards the end, but it really it feels like a lesser version of Pan's Labyrinth to me. That's why I couldn't stop thinking that the entire time. You know.
Yeah, this just made me excited to rewatch Pan's Labyrinth because I haven't seen that since I was a kid, and that movie fucked me up as a kid.
What's y'all's favorite Guillermo movie?
I guess
Pacific Rim.
We got to talk about Pacific Rim. That movie fucks.
Mine's 100% The Shape of Water. The Shape of Water is like
Shape of Water's really
a perfect movie to
I've
me.
actually never seen that. But I would probably say Pan's Labyrinth. I would assume.
It might be Pan's Labyrinth for me. But it also might be Shape of Water.
I would have been so curious.
I really liked his new Pinocchio.
Oh, I never saw that either. But I would have been really curious to see what he would have done with the Hobbit franchise if he got it instead of Peter Jackson. You know,
that was the biggest like letdown. They could have been so sick.
Well, it would have been the same thing because the issue was the studio interference, lack of time. He would have had his own issues.
Yeah, I know, but at least it would have he would have had his own style put in. Whereas I feel like this was.
But why do you say that when Peter Jackson's style wasn't in the Hobbit movies?
Well,
we've seen what Peter Jackson
but it was also like he went from doing Lord of the Rings, took a teeny little break, and then went into doing pre-production for a new trilogy, or barely any pre-production. Like have you seen the behind-the-scenes footage of him on set? He looks like absolutely miserable.
Yeah, it looks like he wants to kill himself. It's crazy.
Yeah, which is why Guillermo left. He was like, "No, I'm not doing this."
Exactly, but I'm saying had he stayed and done it, I think it probably wouldn't have been much better. Not due to him, but just due to Warner Brothers being Warner Brothers.
Yeah. I don't know. In a perfect world, I would have really liked to see kind of his take. I think it would have been better because I think the Hobbit movies are pretty mid to bad.
They're pretty bad. Have you seen the like recut version where they like basically
cut it down to one movie?
Basically, like one long movie.
I've read The Hobbit. It's like so short. I think like listening to it on like an audiobook, I think it's like a 6-hour book. It's nothing.
Yeah, it's a little longer than that, but yeah, it's way shorter. It's way shorter than any of the Lord of the Rings books.
Yeah, 300 pages. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Lord of the Rings is like Fellowship is like almost 500. Two Towers is like 400, and I don't even know about the third one. But
yeah, it definitely didn't need to be 3 movies, but Whatever.
Whatever.
I don't know.
All right. That was The Devil's Backbone by Guillermo del Toro. Let's get into Last of Us
Wait.
episode 6.
Ratings.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna give this one. I feel like I should give it a 7, but I kind of I'm gonna go with what I'm feeling right now, and I think I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. I liked it. Wish I loved it.
I'll do 5 out of 10.
I'm probably like 5.5, like right in between.
Okay. Yeah. I liked it, but it's all right. I'm glad I watched it.
I'll never watch it again.
Yeah, me neither. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's get into The Last of Us. Nick, I'm curious, did you like this episode a little bit more now that Joel is back? It's like a flashback episode.
Okay, I've tried to not shit.
Takes incoming.
I've tried to not shit on Bella Ramsey, but she was so fucking annoying in this episode.
Nick, let's try to do the pronouns.
They were so fucking annoying in this episode.
Why?
Every joke pissed me off. When she grabbed the cake and shoved it into her face, I was angry. Whenever she's like,
dislike Bella Ramsey.
The big squirrel's fucking the little squirrel, I got angry. Everything that they did in this episode just pissed me off.
I don't get it, because like I just see Ellie whenever I like in this episode. I was like, oh, this is like season 1 Ellie when she was all.
I think it's just because I'm so
chill.
angry about the show that being like not as good as the game.
I mean, that seems to be the vitriol of a lot of fans, is they just kind of take it out on Bella Ramsey because they're upset that it's different and that Bella Ramsey doesn't.
But Pedro Pascal's great. He's so good.
Yeah.
So like in contrast, she looks terrible.
Well, I think it's like I watched a bunch of the first season last night, and the stuff that Ellie's saying about, the big squirrel's fucking the little squirrel, or just eating cake. I mean, that's kind of what Ellie's like in the first season too.
Yes.
With the puns. I don't know if is that
the
is
whole
that
like
in the game
magazine
too?
with like the dick thing where she's like, whoa, look how big that dick is, or whatever.
She makes in the game, to me, the way I took it is she makes these jokes as a way of like coping, right? And in the show, it just feels like she's being silly or being an asshole at all times. It doesn't feel like there's any deep sorrow hidden beneath her that she's like coping to overcome. It just feels like it feels like Bella Ramsey as a person misunderstands this character.
I think it's valid to have that feeling, but for me it's more so an issue when it's post Joel's death in all the Seattle stuff, where if there's a lot of joking, for me, I'm like, all right, guys, come on. Like, the tone is very heavy right now. Can we not be joking so much? But like, I don't know. In flashback Ellie, like, there's that like underlying distrust that she has that like builds over the course of this episode, and I think they performed that really well. I think that all worked out really well.
It was better than the last few episodes. I'll say that.
Yeah,
they did. So they did, as a resident gamer, they did change the way that went down. Like the whole thing with Gale and Eugene, they don't exist in the game. The way that went down was Ellie just like, if I'm remembering correctly, she just ran away one day, went all the way to Salt Lake, found the hospital, found like their records that they had left there, and just like everything about Joel. And then Joel caught up to her, and then they had the little confrontation right there. And then there's like a year gap before they have the balcony scene.
So the way the show did it is actually way better than that, because that's completely unrealistic.
I was just thinking, I was like, it is a little silly for her to travel like across a state.
Yeah.
I feel like she would just confront him.
Also, I thought that was actually really powerful, the way that that Ellie connected Joel lying about killing Eugene and killing the Fireflies. And then she, the way she's like, you swore, she's like figuring it all out at once, because she already knows, she's like practicing the speech with the empty stool in front of her and everything. I don't know, it just goes back to like Ellie and Joel are a great dynamic, and I think Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal play off each other extremely well. Like, I really love the show when it's about those two performers. When Joel's not there and it's Dina or someone else, it just doesn't work. It's really not. It's not working. And I feel like having an episode that with all like an entire episode of Joel flashbacks, it just reinforces that feeling and makes it all feel so much more painful all over again
It's
and
also
disappointing.
it's also coming right off the "I'm gonna be a dad" episode, which is like the most laughable changes ever. It just takes all the tension out of that scene and just makes it silly.
Yeah. Because in the game it's supposed to be she's really mad about Dina being pregnant, right?
Yeah, she's kind of a dick in the game, actually.
Which I mean, she should be though. I think if that's how she is in the game, it feels like I don't know. I think Craig Mazin or whatever his name is. I think he understands a lot about the game, but it seems like he sort of has a fundamental misunderstanding of Ellie's character just based on what I've seen in the past couple of weeks. Because I've been like trying to like get more acclimated with how the scenes that we've seen so far in season 2 play out in the games, and it's so much better. Like Nick, I totally agree with you. It's so much better the way that scene is portrayed. Like, because if the entire theme of the second game is like the cycle of violence and she's going out to get revenge no matter what, have that be the focal point the entire time. Like, you can have them joking around sometimes, but they're just like fucking off the entire fucking time, it feels like. Like I'm talking Dina and Ellie. Like, be fucking serious. Like, I want there to be anger. I'm not feeling any of that.
Yeah.
There has to be a reason for this show to exist when we already have the story told in this other medium. Like right now, the second season of the show doesn't need to exist. It does what the game does worse.
Yeah, I don't entirely agree, but I understand where you guys are coming from. I do think the direction, like if you compare scenes by scenes, even deciding like differences in like how they decide to go about telling like script changes and whatnot, I do think like direction and like cinematography is more impactful in the actual game. I like specifically, like, I know this is an older episode, but like Joel's death, I think is done so much better in the actual game itself. I differences with Abby's information and what we learn about her at that point, but I think the actual scene itself is so much better.
Yeah,
like,
and editing, like how long to hold a frame, how like.
I was watching something, I was reading something. I didn't listen to the podcast itself, but I was reading a transcript of it. And it was Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin talking about the scene where Ellie goes into the theater by herself, picks up the guitar, and she starts playing a little bit of Future Days. And Craig is like, yeah, Neil like really had to talk me into like that being the song that she plays in that moment. And it's like, what other fucking song would she play? Why would she play anything besides that? Like, to even say that that the creator of the game had to talk you into that is fucking ridiculous. It just really belies like a total misunderstanding of the stakes and the character and what the character where their focus should be at this point in time. And it's coming from a fucking guy who wrote. Honestly, like, I know, Nick, you disagree with this. I think one of the best episodes of television ever made in season 3 last season, or episode 3 last season with Bill and Frank. I watched that last night. It's an incredible fucking piece of writing.
You keep saying I hate that episode. I've literally been on the record saying I love that episode. Like,
no,
10 times.
I'm not saying that you. I'm saying that I think it's like exceptional and one of the best hours of TV I've ever seen. You said it wasn't that great. You said it was good, but not like.
I think it's good, but then I think the show has to stick the landing, and I think what sticks with me is how the show ended the season.
In the first season.
The first season. You just don't like the last episode as much.
The last like 2 episodes, I don't like.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, it's just shocking to me. Like, some of these creative decisions in the second, the whole thing is falling apart at the seams. Where so many great decisions were made in the first season.
Well, he wrote Chernobyl. Chernobyl's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like he's a great writer, but I agree. I don't think he really understands the source material well enough.
And
or maybe he doesn't like the aspects of it that us as fans like.
I have to say, there's no way that this could have been avoided or predicted, I'm sure, by anyone working on this show, but it's so unfortunate for Bella Ramsey that they had to have the scene with her, or with Bella Ramsey wearing the fucking the space helmet, the astronaut helmet, because the memes have just been off the chain since everyone's been comparing Bella Ramsey to Buzz Lightyear. You know?
They already were. They were already saying she's going to be cast as Buzz Lightyear before that scene happened.
Yeah, but I'm just saying since last night, it's been crazy.
Yeah, it's been.
So it's just.
I feel bad for her,
Yeah.
honestly, or them. I feel bad for them. Whatever. Sorry.
It's all right. You trying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did this episode emotionally affect either of you? I'm guessing Nick, no.
Oh yeah, for sure. I cried during the porch scene. That was incredibly a moving scene. I loved it.
For half of the entire fucking episode, I cried as soon as Joel started playing his guitar. I cried because I was like, "Damn, they're so happy." I'm fucking depressed.
Yeah.
And
I think if I went in, if I went in with the right frame of mind, I could have been affected by it. But I'm so checked out.
I cried during Eugene scenes. Shout out to Joe Pantoliano. He was fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He was really
in that
good.
Final scene. That broke my heart of him just being like, I don't need, to I don't want you to tell her my last words. I need her last words because I'm fucking scared.
Yeah.
That was so heartbreaking.
And Joel's like, if you love someone, you can always see their face. Is that in the game?
He's such a
that line?
No, this is an original.
Oh, okay.
He's such a great character actor. It's insane.
Yeah, he's looking great. He's 73.
And also the choice to do the flashback to Joel's childhood, I thought was really cool too.
Yeah, that's not in the game either.
That whole line where he's talking to his dad and his dad's like explaining to him the psychology behind beating his children to one of his children. It's like, I'm just trying to do a little bit better than my dad. And then when he fucks up with Ellie, he's like, just maybe you could do a little bit better than me. That was a really beautiful thing too. I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Overall, it's just I was depressed watching the porch scene because of like in-universe reasons of character dynamics, but also just depressed that this is the last gasp of what the show actually being something that I care about, I think, and after this it's kind of all downhill. And I just I think my brother just sent me something today. It was like, it's actually going to be 4 seasons of this. I was like, I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know.
I just pulled it.
Wait, what?
Yeah, 4 seasons.
For the second story?
There's going to be 1 extra season than they thought.
Yes. Yeah, it's game 2 is going to be 3 seasons.
Yeah, game 2 and 3 seasons.
So it's going to be basically, my guess is season 1 is the whole Ellie side of the story, season 3 is Abby's side of the story, and then season 4 will be the like epilogue section, but expanded.
I really think they're going to regret it. I think next season is going to get a lot less like people excited for it than they think.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of already getting there. I think the viewership numbers are down. I know it's kind of hard to tell with streaming shows sometimes, but it's definitely the people who are watching it live is way, way down from season 1, from everything I've seen.
Because like,
so
I don't know.
I don't know. It's definitely a concern.
I'm honestly, I know, I don't really care about the streaming numbers. I think they'll end up doing all 4 seasons. And they did say the 4th and final season, so I don't think they're going to wait for a 3rd game. They're just going to wrap it up. I'm more excited for Abby's story because I think that out of the stories in the 2nd game, I think her story on its own is so much more engaging. Whereas like Ellie's story in this is like, I know you get the whole Joel death thing, but most of like the mechanics of the story is just, well, let's go get revenge, baby. And then Abby's story is a much more interesting, like there's a civil war going on between a cult and this military regime, and I'm stuck in the middle, and like and how she grows as a character. I'm way more interested to see what they do with season 3 actually.
I think you're right that her story is much more interesting, but I think they already fucked up. I think they needed to go like a Game of Thrones route where they alternates like episodes between different characters and show Abby already. I think that would have given us a break from just this boring ass Ellie story. And it also would have given us some of Abby's perspective on the Joel death instead of making people wait 2 years for the next season. And people are just already fucking pissed off, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know.
I think they really needed to integrate Abby into this season more than they did.
Because the way that they're doing it in the show is exactly how it's done in the games, though. It's like Ellie, then Abby. It's not intertwined, really, until much later.
Right after Joel dies, you're playing as Abby.
No. No. You play as Abby in the opening of the game, and then
and then
switch
you're right.
back
Then it
to
cuts
Joel
away right
and
after.
Ellie, and and then once the whole thing happens, then you're Ellie the entire way up to the like twist or the like cliffhanger, and then you switch spots with Abby for like 15 hours of the game.
Yeah, you're right. It's been so long since I played it.
Yeah, I gotta replay it. I think my wife and I are gonna play it. She doesn't really play video games, but I'm trying to convince her to play the second one with me so that she can just get the whole story rather than waiting 7 years for this story to end.
Yeah. I mean, is there any universe where you guys see them pulling a Game of Thrones and just continuing into The Last of Us Part 3 in TV show only? Just going past the source material?
Because like I don't really know what even story they tell at that point. Like
I don't think the show has legs.
I don't think they will. I mean, the way Craig Mazin talks about it, he says a 4th and final season. That's the way he's talking about it. So I don't expect them.
What percentage
and I
of
don't
like
think they're doing a Last of Us 3.
What percentage of gameplay are we through of the second game by now?
About half. Almost. Maybe.
Not even.
Maybe like a
third probably.
So yeah, they're fairly splitting it.
Okay. So then just 2 more seasons. All right.
Yeah, next I think also they kind of wanted to give us a little nice episode where we understand why Ellie's, in the mental state she's at, because next episode she's going to do some fucked up things. So they didn't want us to like be like, fuck, dude.
Yeah. No, I mean, this past episode was probably one of my favorite episodes of the entire series, though. I think it was really, really great.
Yeah, it was good.
Just watching Joel like cry as Ellie's so happy, with the astronaut helmet on. She's listening to the blast off, whatever, the Apollo 17, whatever it was, that sound
Apollo,
clip.
Yeah,
that was so great. All of that stuff. And I don't know. I feel like it's such a big hole to try to replace Pedro at this point. I don't know how it happens. Hopefully Abby's story can fill some of it, but
I think you'll be engaged in Abby's story, honestly. Especially you were digging the Seraphites. That's a huge portion of her story.
Okay. Well, yeah, I can get down with that.
I think it's interesting. I think anyone that does stick around will be pleasantly surprised with the amount. I mean, if I think they'll be like enjoy what we get.
Yeah. So, what else?
Let's talk about some actual great television.
What, the Rehearsal? You want to get into that?
I would love to talk about the Rehearsal.
All right.
So you guys have all watched season 1, right?
Yes. I'm fully caught up, and I watched all of Nathan For You.
Just recently?
You watched all of Nathan For You?
No, I watched all of Nathan For You like last year, and then I started the Rehearsal last year. Got an episode in and was like, this is cool, I'll finish this at some point, and then I never finished it. And then Nick was like, hey, I want to talk about the Rehearsal. So I started season 2, watched it, and was like, fuck, Nathan Fielder's so incredibly talented. And then I went back and watched all of season 1 in like a day.
So what's the best Nathan For You episode, and why is it the Claw of Shame?
Which
Claw of Shame's pretty funny. That's where he's like, if I don't unlock these handcuffs within 30 seconds, I will be registered sex offender.
I was just thinking of the one where he hires the like Asian stunt driver and he makes her do like the accent
I think the
break stereotypes.
I think the movement's my favorite.
That's really funny too. Yeah. There's so many great moments of that show.
The Summit Ice. I mean, it's one of those shows where it's so good that you can actually look up episodes where you're like, oh, this was like a big deal, outside of the show, like dumb Starbucks became like a huge thing.
He knows how to manipulate the media so well.
Or his like fake pig video.
Yeah. Goat in the water.
Goat in the water, goat in the water. And then it ends with him being like, I forgot to credit the farm.
Yeah.
So I made her a sign.
Like he's like, I think there's certain levels of art that I respect because I know that it's nothing I could ever do, no matter how hard I wanted to.
It's
like his whole like ideology behind comedy and like where he's at with his humor and just like how he sets up his stories and how he like leads things into the next thing are just so beyond something I could even comprehend thinking of. and I think that's why I love him so much.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that turning this concept of, people in the season 1, it was more of a simplistic concept, or at least like a 1-to-1 jump between like, people want to rehearse for life events so they don't fuck things up, or it can make difficult things that you have to go through in your life easier. So you give people time to rehearse them in like simulated environments. Taking that, which that also went pretty far by the end of season 1 with like all the child actors and switching and all that shit that happened. But taking that into like, oh, now we're just trying to solve the entire issue of like aviation safety in America somehow. It's just like, I don't know how you make that leap, but it's very brilliant.
It's super interesting. I was kind of hoping, watching season 1, I thought it was going to be closer to a Nathan For You, where it was going to be very episodic, and like each episode was helping one person in their own separate thing. But I kind of love that each season so far has had like a thesis and a goal.
Yeah.
Whereas like the first one is like raising a family, and now we're like you said, fucking air traffic.
Yeah.
I think my favorite episode so far is like whenever he became Captain Sully.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
that was incredible.
It was amazing television. Like oh my god,
where he's getting breastfed by the giant marionette.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like it all turns into basically iPod, like Apple saved all those lives.
Yeah. And Evanescence.
Evanescence.
Wake me up. Wake me up inside. Yeah.
That is really a huge problem, though, when you think about it. The fact that these pilots can't really go to therapy because they can get their licenses revoked by the FAA.
Yeah,
they can't talk about any of this shit because they need to be so
which doesn't
stable.
Which doesn't even really make sense. I mean, it would be more so if they're diagnosed with things, because that's all. Like, therapists can't release what you tell them.
Yeah.
So like I don't understand why they wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, it's definitely, it seems like something that has to change pretty soon, because it's not like everyone is these days. Everyone is recommended to go to therapy. Like, it can benefit everyone. It's not just for people that have mental illnesses. It seems like kind of a stigma holdover from decades ago, where it's like, oh, you're going to therapy, there must be something wrong with you. We can't let you hold people's lives in your hands up 10,000 feet in the air. Like. Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully this I don't know. Like, he obviously isn't going to get an audience in front of Congress based on what the last episode last night went.
Yeah, that was pretty hard to watch.
It's one of the most embarrassing things I think I've ever seen. Oh my God. That was so hard to watch. Just the guy, as soon as he's done showing him the presentation on his laptop, he's just on his phone. He's just rushing him out of the office, making like sort of these like condescending insinuations that he's autistic also. Oh my God, that was
what. Yeah, I even love the line where he was just like, I forgot, he's like, unintentionally, this show has been a very big had a very big audience with autistic people or whatever.
Yeah. And Nathan the whole time is just like, when he's talking to the doctor who specializes in autism, he's just like, yeah, well, it's not like you don't need to do that. It's people that don't have autism can also get something out of this too. And she's like, sure. You tell that everyone he talked to in last night's episode actually thinks he's autistic. It's just kind of fucked up.
And the level of them trying to get him to do like he's doing the test. It's like, okay, which emotion? He's just like,
yeah.
I mean, upset, and then it'd be wrong, and he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, it's it's not like accurate. Like, and then it's also."
Have y'all taken that test before?
No,
I've actually taken it.
I mean, I was taking it in while I was watching the show. I got everyone right.
Oh, really?
I didn't get all of them right, but I got most of them right.
Well, they only show 2 in the show, and I got both of those right.
Oh no, that's like a full test of like 70.
Oh.
You can find it online. It's like the face and eyes something test, autism test.
Oh. Did you pass, Nick?
Yeah, I'm not autistic, thank God. But I think there's so many like quotable funny moments in this too. Like whenever the lady's just like, I don't know how he finds these people, but she's like, yeah, I have wet dreams to hit to Einstein.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
When he said E equals MC squared, I got so wet.
Yeah,
I was like, where does he find them? How? How does he get them to say these things?
She goes up to try to interrupt the blonde girl who's like shooting her shot, and she's like, "Oh no, I'm not letting this guy go. He's too smart." I'm already.
He's too smart. I'm soaked.
Yeah, she's like, I have to tell you, you have a sexual energy that reminds me very heavily of Einstein.
Did you know that he had kids early?
Yeah.
It's like, what? What is? Everybody had kids early then.
Yeah, no, and I love it's so funny watching how if you're someone of if you've proven yourself to Nathan's degree, you can actually just convince a big studio or big television company like HBO to just fund anything that you think of, really. Because
yeah,
building a 1-to-1 replica of a bar and then
airport.
flying it to a studio in fucking Los Angeles.
And the only stipulation is like we have to try to make this somehow entertaining, despite the fact that the entire premise of the season, and HBO knows this, is about trying to make aviation safety more safe than it has been. Which is like
I was
trying to ring.
I was watching this.
Out. That's crazy.
I was watching this with my girlfriend. She hasn't seen Nathan For You or The Rehearsal, the first season, and the whole first episode. Whenever everything's super serious, there's not a single joke where he's because towards halfway through the episode, I haven't made a single joke or I haven't made a single funny moment once. I was laughing the entire time because I could tell exactly what he was doing, and she was looking at me like I'm a fucking crazy person.
My wife hates Nathan For You, but she also just hates cringe humor where it's supposed to make you uncomfortable. Like she despises The Office or anything like that. So
did you watch
Nathan
this
For
with
You
her?
is a nightmare. No, I didn't, because she doesn't like Nathan For You at all. So
I can't imagine somebody not liking it.
It just makes her uncomfortable. She thinks it's funny, but it makes her uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's certain things about the show where it's like he rides a moral line, of it. It's all in service of it being funny and the greater theme of the show or whatever, but it's kind of hard to argue that just having all of these aspiring musicians come out to perform in front of who they think are actual qualified musical judges that can judge them based on the merits of their musicality or whatever the fuck, come to find out they're just airline pilots in this elaborate random fucking reality social experiment show, that is kind of fucked up. And I was actually reading people online
one
are
of them's
pissed
getting
off.
sued.
Yeah.
I did it. I brought back Canadian Idol.
Yeah.
Honestly, when he mentioned that, I was like, I would not want any job less than the person that has to crush someone's dreams because they're a pretty good singer, not a great singer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. Some especially in Nathan For You, I think was more mean spirited. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. Certain parts of Nathan For You, especially, were you could definitely consider them to be mean spirited in tone, just because it seems like the person that he's conning or pranking, whether it's the business owner or their customers, didn't exactly know what they're getting themselves into, or if they're on the hook financially for any of the stuff, any of the pranks on the show or whatever. I think he's definitely kind of been a little bit more conscious of that with The Rehearsal, especially because it's 10 years later and culture has softened more by now. You can't just do all the things that he was doing on Nathan For You necessarily anymore. But long story short, I totally understand why some people are not really into what he does. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's necessarily a problem at all. I mean, these people are agreeing to do these things. There's no one in their right mind should agree to any of these practices unless they just want to be on TV, in which case it's their own fault. It's the same as that guy, remember whenever he basically became that other guy and did the tightrope walk across the city?
Yeah.
You could say that him getting this girlfriend and doing all this stuff for this guy was mean-spirited. But in the end, the guy agreed to the most ridiculous thing possible. It's nobody's fault but his own.
Yeah. That's true. But I mean, you have to think what about the people that flew out, took time off of work, probably spent a ton of money to get put up in a hotel or whatever to be on a musical competition show that is just an elaborate prank for an HBO show,
But he's always upfront about those things. He literally
wasn't
said,
though, not in this instance. They actually thought it was a music competition.
Didn't they all sign contracts and stuff?
Yeah, he basically said you're winning. By winning, you get to sing live on television, in a 1-to-1 recreation of the Houston airport. They're going to win that.
Yeah, I feel like Nathan, after doing Nathan for You, probably has such an intensive lawyer team set up that's like, yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
and
the Paramount Plus shit was so funny though.
oh my gosh, comparing it to like the spread of Nazis
Mhm.
in
Yeah,
like
whenever
the
they
same
all have the
overview map.
armbands with the Paramount Plus logo.
Yeah.
Welcome in, Nathan.
Yeah, I think when it comes to things like this, I think there has to be a level of mean-spiritedness, and I think he could still do Nathan for You to an extent. I think the biggest problem there wouldn't necessarily be that culture's changed; it's that people know who he is.
Yeah, he's more famous than he was back then.
I don't know. It still seems like a lot of these, unless a lot of these actors are lying, but a lot of them don't seem to know who he is at all. Maybe that's part of their like hiring process. They try to find people that aren't going to be starstruck by Nathan. You know, I don't know
Yeah.
when they get these like Fielder method people or whatever.
Well, they probably have an insane like casting team now.
Yeah. Or that was even surprising to me too. Like for all these people lining up for that singing competition that he did, do you really not know it's a comedy show? Like it seemed to be hundreds or potentially even like over 1,000 people that lined up for that competition. None of them know who the fuck Nathan Fielder is. You know, like that was a little bit surprising to me too.
I don't know. Maybe, and also Nathan just kind of has one of those faces where he kind of looks like an everyman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
He looks like an older Ezra Miller.
Yeah. I hope that he just continues to take this concept further and just tries to solve some other extremely troubling problem that none of us really think about in whatever industry, you know, because it is crazy to think about like all the cockpit audio that he played from black boxes where planes went down, where it was just like, it potentially could have been avoided if the first officer was willing to speak up more. You know, maybe that's the thing. I don't know.
I mean, whatever it is, it's going to be something we'll never have thought of.
Yeah.
Like, I would have never expected this, ever. And that was why I was dying so hard. Like, during the first episode, I was like, oh, I see what he's doing, and I'm going to fucking... It's going to fuck me up.
Yeah. Yeah, everything he comes up with, I'm like, yep, this is the whole season. All right, I'm invested in this thing I did not care about the day before.
He's truly, like, just, like, a gift. Like... Nathan Fielder's a gift of our generation, and people need to cherish him.
Yeah,
because there's not many minds like his.
I agree. No. I felt that way since I first found him in 2013. I was like, this guy's a genius. Yeah. He's going far.
Dude, ever since I saw Thin Watermelon on YouTube, I've been in love with him.
Oh yeah, he made YouTube videos back in the day.
I didn't know about his YouTube channel. I just saw him on Comedy Central back 2013 when Nathan For You started.
You also find his YouTube channel. He has a video where he like just dances, where he's like, I choreographed a dance, and then he just kind of goes off for a few minutes.
What's Thin Watermelons? What's that?
It's literally exactly what it sounds like. It's him holding a thin watermelon slice.
Look how thin this watermelon slice is.
He doesn't even say anything. He has the camera turned to the side profile of this piece of watermelon, and it shows how obscenely thin it is. Then he looks at the camera with the most like just cocky look in the world, like he knows all. He knows all. It just fucks me up, dude.
I am watching it right now. It is really funny. Yeah, I because we've talked about Rehearsal and Nathan For You. I have not seen the other show that he like kind of co-produced. I think it was The Curse.
Yeah,
with Emma Stone.
The Curse is really good too.
Have you seen it? Okay.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yep.
It's
okay.
If Nathan For You or The Rehearsal makes you cringe, I think The Curse might be the cringiest of the Nathan output. Yeah,
because is it similarly like it's filmed with real people, or is it like somewhat?
I would say it's definitely closer to a Safdie production than a Nathan Fielder production. Okay. I definitely think there are a lot of elements of like the concept and things that like only Nathan could think of.
Yeah. It's just because like they're Nathan and Emma Stone they play like these.
They're like a married couple, right?
Yeah, they're a married couple who's like trying to revolutionize like housing sustainability or something. And there's just
no, they're basically like HGTV stars.
Yeah, they like invented a new kind of like ultra sustainable home with it has like reflected, it's like mirrors on all sides. So I don't know, it makes the home more energy efficient or whatever. And yeah, they have an HGTV show. but their entire like they show them interacting with like Native American people and stuff, and like talking to people that they can just tell that they're clearly just out for the reputation of getting involved in this stuff. They don't actually care, and that, like, to me, that's where all of it, the cringe factor comes from.
Yeah.
Because they're just so clearly self-interested and don't actually give a shit about any of the stuff they proclaim to. You know what I mean?
The only clip I've seen of it is where Nathan gives like some little girl some money and then has to go ask for it back.
Yeah.
I curse you.
Yeah, that's where the curse comes from.
Oh, I see.
And it's like it's a TikTok trend. But also, the last scene of the entire show is one of the weirdest things I have ever seen on like a scripted television show. It's so fucking
We
weird.
definitely shouldn't spoil it.
I won't
since
spoil
Ethan
it,
hasn't
but
seen
it's
it.
just
Yeah,
like you'll
I'll
never
watch
guess what it is or why it is. It's just so fucking weird. But
I'll watch it, even though Paramount Plus is a Holocaust denier.
But yeah, speaking
We're
of this,
sponsored by Summit Ice, by the way.
speaking
No,
of
we're not.
the Safdies, what do you guys think of the new Rock movie? The trailer's out now.
I'm reserving judgment until I see it, because I think the
was-
trailer was good, but I don't know.
I was so excited. Like, y'all, I think I ranted over and over, both in group chat and in our Discord, about how excited I was about it. But the trailer just didn't hit for me. I don't know. The Rock didn't seem like he. I don't know. I didn't get the same feeling I got from Adam Sandler in the Uncut
Seen
Gems
Uncut
trailer.
Gems?
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. That movie is like a modern classic now, I feel like, Uncut Gems. So it'll be hard for it to live up to that in my mind. Honestly, both of the Safdie brothers movies so
Good
far,
time too.
yeah.
I was about to say.
Like, I don't know. I'm not sure if it'll be that good, but it definitely looks like the only time I've seen The Rock in a trailer where I was like, I actually really want to see this movie, And I thought I was impressed by his performance, just what little I saw of it,
I still want to see it really bad, and I think Emily Blunt looked really good in it too.
Yeah.
The way because he's wearing facial prosthetics to make him look less like The Rock. I don't know how much he looks like the actual guy, but the effect is reminding me of like in Looper with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like with the CGI half Bruce Willis face. That's what it makes me think of.
Yeah, I'm wondering how he's going to get punched in the face with all that prosthetics on. How did they do that?
It's called movie magic.
Wait, so the prosthetics are to make him look less like The Rock or more like the guy he's portraying?
I'm guessing a bit of both.
That's really interesting. Because like it would be beneficial for the movie overall for the audience not to go in and be like, oh shit, yeah, that's just The Rock, because The Rock is just so larger than life as a movie star, So I get that, but I also would have I'm sure The Rock was kind of mad about that,
I don't know. I feel like
I don't think
he
so.
agreed to this because he's trying to like revitalize his career, to be like, look, I can be an actor, guys. Like I'm not just Maui from Moana. I'm not just WWE. I'm not the hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change.
Yeah.
I'm an actor.
He's so fucking rich, man. Like, what else? He either needs to retire or make something good at this point.
Well, I think this is like an effort to do that. He's already dominated the mainstream box office for so many years, and now he's like, all right, it's finally time to make my foray into the indie pictures, the Cannes circuit.
It feels like that for me because his last few movies have kind of bombed.
Yeah.
I feel like if they didn't bomb, he wouldn't be doing this. I think,
but
you
say
Black
that, but
Adam completely tanked, and he even signed up for Moana live action because he was like, "Fuck."
You say that, but he's also the main protagonist in a Scorsese movie upcoming. Like,
oh, that's right.
Yeah, this seems like a part of a concerted effort to like rebrand The Rock as Dave Bautista almost. He's gonna be the new Dave Bautista. He's gonna out Batista.
Well, Batista doesn't even look like a muscle man anymore. Batista looks like a very avant-garde actor now.
Yeah, that's true.
I really hope it's good, and I think the Safdie brothers are obscenely talented, but it's also only one of them. So
yeah, it's hard. It's like a Coen Brothers situation. It's like, are they better apart or together? Usually together, but they don't. I feel like they haven't worked together in a while.
Wait, so it's just Benny or it's just Josh?
What is it, Josh?
Oh shit.
Benny is in The Curse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Benny's also in
Okay.
Oppenheimer. He's had a lot more
Yeah,
acting
that's
roles.
right.
He was in Good Time.
he was in Good Time.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
He was. That show fucking licked my balls too.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Nick hasn't seen Andor yet, but I really want to talk about it before the hype cycle's over. If we can,
Yeah,
When does the last episode come
it's
out?
already
done. It's
already
all out.
done. But
It's
I
12
can watch it.
episodes.
I can watch it this week, and we can touch. It just depends on if Brendan has seen it.
Spoilers if our next guest.
but
Yeah.
I want to see, because this is kind of a larger conversation that you don't even really need to know what happens in Andor to know what I'm really the gist of what I'm saying. But it's like I really feel like, because a lot of times people will talk about the sequel trilogy of Star Wars being bad, which breaks the canon and makes, by extension, like retrospectively, the other films seem worse. But I think Andor does the same thing by being too good. But because it's like, why would this one thing in the Star Wars legendarium be so good and so smart and just like be trying to say so many different things and just be as beautiful as it is? Whereas everything else is either just like a boring prequel trilogy, a fun family adventure original trilogy, or just a really bad sequel trilogy.
But
You know?
I could agree, but to be fair, it has a lot less writing on it. It has a lot less that it's impacting directly. It has a lot more freedom to do these things that are good. Whenever somebody's sitting down to write something like The Force Awakens, they're like, I have to make sure it fits all of this narrative and it continues the story in an interesting way. Andor doesn't have to do any of that.
Yeah. It should be better, but it's not just the fact that it's better. It's just like the fact that everything, because Andor leads up to Rogue One, which is also good too in its own way. It's not anywhere near as good as Andor, but like it's leading up to A New Hope. Both of those things are, and it's like everything leading up to that is this like very smart, very intricate, like tons of moving pieces, this whole rebellion that's being built piece by piece, and there's espionage and betrayals and all this shit. And then it just gets, as soon as Luke and Leia and Han get involved, it's just like a Western in space.
It's
And
a fun space adventure.
it just doesn't really make it. It breaks the canon for me. It's like, why did everything just change? Why is the empire goes from this like fascist regime that has their hands in so many different pots, and they're actually like a force to be reckoned with. Instead, once the original trilogy starts, it's like, oh, we're just blowing up planets because we can. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't.
There's not as much weight behind everything.
Yeah,
it feels
not
more
nearly.
Yeah, and I think I agree, and I don't think it's necessarily a good excuse. But I mean, you also have to keep in mind that these movies are made in like the 70s.
Yeah, no, of course. But it's just
So, I mean,
the issue with retconning is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, I love Andor, but it feels like it's kind of creating some of these issues for me now.
Yeah,
I agree, but I think that also is the only way that it can evolve to like a modern era of storytelling.
Yeah.
You kind of have to have that natural detachment in your brain where you're like, listen, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna watch Andor where they're talking about like sexual assault and slave labor and fascist dictatorships, and then I'm gonna go watch Empire Strikes Back where he uses his laser sword to chop off a Yeti's arm.
Yeah. I would love to see, Tony Gilroy. I mean, I'm sure he's done with Star Wars at this point, the Andor
this was
creator.
like 7 years of his life.
Yeah. I just like, taking, if there's someone else who wants to come in and take the ball from him and just move forward with this stuff. Like, why does the only time period that we can expand upon in Star Wars is like right after the Revenge of the Sith and before A New Hope? It seems like that's all they're interested is that, like, those 30 years or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, I want to move past.
People have been saying that for years, though. Like, everybody wants what everybody that's actually a big fan of Star Wars wants is like something like the Old Republic era. Like, nobody wants them to continue this shit, but Disney just refuses.
So the Old Republic would be like what, thousands of years in the past?
Yeah, it's about like 3,000 years or so
well,
before
that's apparently
everything
James
that happened.
Mangold is making a movie about the like first Jedi or something like that.
Oh,
but we'll see if that gets made, because we're at a point right now where Disney, after Rise of Skywalker, they were like, all right, we're taking a break and just making a ton of shows. And they've announced like 6 different Star Wars movies, and half of them have been canceled. So we'll see what actually is being made.
So
it seems like that. Did you guys hear about the Ryan Gosling Star Wars movie they're making?
I did.
Is he the first Jedi? He's Duke.
No,
Duke
no, this is different.
Skywalker or something.
He's making the Deadpool and Wolverine director Sean Levy is making a movie about a starfighter, and it's starring Ryan Gosling. So that sounds bad.
I don't think it's fully confirmed yet, though.
No, they went out on stage and were like, "Here's our new project.
Okay.
We shoot in like 6 months or whatever."
I didn't see that. I just saw a post about it.
Damn. Well,
But,
I know Nick, you're like a massive Star Wars fan, right? Or not really anymore. But
I used to be a big fan.
Like,
Why?
Well, just because I don't know. Like, watching stuff like Andor makes me want to watch everything else, but then as soon as I do, I'm just reminded that I actually don't like Star Wars. I just like Andor.
If you don't like Star Wars, you will like Andor. If you like Star Wars, you will like Andor. But that does not translate to everything else Star Wars.
Yeah, no, I mean not to say that I don't like it.
This is the exception, not the rule.
I love Empire. I love The Last Jedi. I kind of like Revenge of the Sith because it's got cool lightsaber fights, but that's about it.
I used to be a prequel defender, but like now, like really all I consider Star Wars is like the originals trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish Solo they would have let the 21 Jump Street homies, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, or Chris Miller, Phil Lord, whatever, Phil Lord and Chris Miller. I wish they would have let them actually finish their cut of that movie because I feel like it could have been a really good just comedy.
Because then it just kind of turned into an okay, forgettable. Like I don't even remember anything about it. I saw it in theaters, and it was just kind of forgettable.
Like a heist movie.
It was like a very bland heist movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that movie failed. And the worst part was George or Lucasfilm's executives took the worst lesson from that, and they go, "We now realize the real issue with this movie was that we cast someone who wasn't Harrison Ford as Han Solo. So we'll never cast anyone. We'll just do deep fakes."
And he wasn't even bad. Alden Ehrenreich,
he was good.
He did a good job.
Great. Yeah.
I remember there was just so many reports coming in. It's like, oh, they had to send him back for acting lessons or whatever. Remember that?
Yeah. I mean, they basically shot the movie twice because they filmed the entire thing.
Yeah.
Disney hated it because it was like a very slapstick comedy thing. And then
well, Phil Lord and Chris Miller are like really big on improv. Like they hardly script.
Well, so apparently a lot of the actors weren't used to improv. Like I saw what's her name? The lady Daenerys from Game of Thrones. She was in that, and she was like, she said some quote that was like, "Yeah, the last directors were like, act like you're in a film noir or something, bro. I don't know what that means." It was like that was apparently the direction.
Cheerio, pip pip. That's all she knows, dude.
Well, how do you improv if you're doing something like the Spider-Verse stuff? It can't be improving on that, right?
I mean, it's just I don't know.
You can still improv.
You just get the voice actors in there, and they're just like, go ham, guys.
Yeah. Well, because also Phil Lord, Chris Miller are writing; they're not directing the Spider-Verse movies.
Yeah, so in that case, they're probably not doing much improv then.
Yeah. Well, all right. Yeah, you guys want to wrap it up here?
Yeah. Let's...
Wait, has Chris Stuckman reviewed any of these movies?
Probably.
I don't know about
I
Final
remember
Destination.
His old prequel.
Let's see what Chris Stuckman gave Final Destination.
I thought we were talking about Star Wars because he's definitely reviewed Star Wars.
I think he did review El Diablo's Cornhole.
El Diablo's Cornhole.
Oh, he did. He reviewed Final Destination Bloodlines. Let's see what he gave it.
He doesn't give them scores anymore.
Oh. All right. Well, everybody, be sure to check out Chris Stuckman's review on Final Destination Bloodlines. It just came out 3 days ago, so be sure.
And then leave in the comments. I hate to interrupt, Chris, but you should be on Hate to Interrupt.
Yeah, make sure to let him know to head our way.
Yes,
because we're fiending to get Stuckmanized.
Yeah,
I'm raring and ready to go. All right, Nick, what are you recommending, sir?
All right, this isn't a joke. I'm 100% serious. This has been on my watch list for a while. I've heard it's a really good dark comedy, like horror movie, from a few different people. I don't know if it's true. I haven't seen it, but it's called Butt Boy, and it's from.
I've heard of this.
It's from 2019, directed by Tyler Cornack, and I just wanted to recommend something I haven't seen. I want to go into something blind with y'all.
Butt Boy. Okay. Let's do it.
All right. And then wait, our next guest is locked in, right?
Yep, Brandon's
All
gonna
right.
pop on.
Next episode, we want to talk about Trey Edward Schultz's new controversial film, Hurry Up Tomorrow. And the last time we talked about Trey Edward Schultz, we talked about his directorial debut, which was Krisha, with Rendon Lavelle, fellow YouTuber, and we invited Rendon on to talk about that. So he's going to be on next episode, so make sure you're ready for that. If you enjoyed this video and you're listening to it on YouTube, please leave a like and a comment. Same goes for our audio-only platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And don't forget to watch Butt Boy from 2019 in preparation for next episode. And I guess we should all go get stuckmanized.
Get stuckmanized.
Bye.
Get stuckmanized.